With tickets being sold to the public last week, it's once again that time of year where E3 enters the minds of every enthusiastic gamer out there. Only being 4 months away, I felt like this was the perfect opportunity to make some predictions as to what we can expect for the show. In this video, we'll be making predictions as to what each company will bring to the show, as well as what I believe each company needs to do so they can have a successful showing. All that is coming up next, here on Your Daily Nerd. What's up everyone, it's Kyle Viveras from Your Daily Nerd, and I'm so stoked it's almost E3 season. One of my favorite things to do is try and predict what everyone will bring to the show, and this will be the first time that I actually publish those predictions. Before we get started, I feel like it's my obligation to let you know that I have no connections within the industry and have absolutely no idea what for sure will be brought. These are just my best educated guesses based off of my long-time familiarity with the gaming industry. With that in mind, let's get started. Let's start with Xbox, who I think has the most to prove this E3. They're making up some lost ground ever since the launch of the Xbox One X, but there are still a lot of questions that they'll need to answer at E3 to convince people to join Team Xbox. Now, I love my Xbox One, but there's no denying that it has an extremely limited base of first-party games. Last year, really the only first-party games that were released on Xbox were Cuphead, Halo Wars 2, and Forza 7. And while they have PUBG right now through console exclusivity on Xbox, who knows if that's a permanent thing or if it'll eventually come to PlayStation as well. This year, Xbox has 3 confirmed exclusives coming out: Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, and State of Decay 2. This points out the first major thing that I think Xbox needs to do: bump up their selection of exclusive games. My prediction is that they will announce both a new Halo game and a new Gears of War game, but that's not going to be enough in my opinion. They're going to need to show some brand new original IPs to help justify the sale of their consoles. By doing this, I think it will help increase the sale of Xbox One X units as well. Another thing I think would be a great move for Xbox is if they can find some way to partner with Oculus. VR may not have taken the world by storm like we all thought it would, but it's still quite popular. Oculus working in tangent with Xbox would be the great counter to PlayStation's PSVR.
We hadn't seen any other Gears in hours. I started wondering if we were the only ones left in Habbo.
Next up, let's discuss Nintendo. Now, Nintendo had an amazing year last year with the debut of their new console/handheld hybrid, the Nintendo Switch. They had many standout hits in the first year of the console's lifecycle, including a couple Game of the Year contenders in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as well as Super Mario Odyssey. The real question that Nintendo has to answer this time around is this: what standout software will be coming out to justify the continued support of this new console? It's great that they were able to put out a new Zelda and a new Mario game last year, but what does that leave us with this year? At last year's E3, it was announced that a new Kirby, Yoshi, and Pokemon game were all coming to the Switch in 2018, as well as an announcement that Metroid Prime 4 had entered development. My prediction is that we'll finally get more details about these games, including some release dates. I'm also sincerely hoping we get some news about some virtual console games. I'd also really like to hear if there are any new games in development from franchises we haven't heard from in a while, like Earthbound, F-Zero, or even a full-fledged new Animal Crossing. I also think it's likely that we'll get news of a Smash Bros. Game coming to the Switch, either in the form of a port from the Wii U or a brand new one. It's also fairly likely that we'll get info on Nintendo's online services, which I'm hoping will include cloud saves. I'm really not sure how much we'll hear about the 3DS this year, though. I have to imagine that even though the 3DS install base is huge, Nintendo will be more focused on growing Switch's install base. Finally, let's talk PlayStation. There's absolutely no doubting the fact that PlayStation has been dominating the marketplace since the debut of the PS4 back at the end of 2013. With an expansive first-party lineup and wonderful third-party support, it's kind of hard to imagine what exactly PlayStation needs to prove at this E3. In my opinion, PlayStation needs to show people why they should stick with PS4 over the other two home consoles. The Xbox One X has shown that it is in fact the strongest console that has ever existed, and this could be stealing some of the market share from customers who were potentially going to be picking up a PS4 Pro. PlayStation needs to convince consumers that PS4 is a better pickup than the Xbox One X. Another huge thing I think Sony and PlayStation need to do is show justification for why people should purchase a PSVR. PSVR needs more full games like Resident Evil 7 for it, and not as many games that feel like tech demos and proof of concepts. In other predictions, I'm also expecting we'll finally get a release date for Insomniac Games' new Spider-Man game, and hopefully we'll see some new stuff about the Final Fantasy VII remake that was announced a few years back. Hopefully we'll also finally get a release date for Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding. I'm very curious to find out what the fuck exactly that game is. It also wouldn't surprise me if we get some more HD remakes of games in the same vein as the Crash Bandicoot trilogy we got last year. I'm really hoping that we'll either get a Spyro remaster, a Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, maybe Ratchet and Clank, and my personal hope is Resistance. Well, that's it, everyone. Those are my E3 2018 predictions and opinions on what each of the companies needs to do to, quote, win the show. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please let me know what you think is going to happen at E3 this year in the comments section below. I'd love to hear your opinions. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to get all the latest content from Your Daily Nerd. Until next time, I'm Kyle Viveris with Your Daily Nerd. What makes you nerd out?